YouTube, and welcome to Gotham Episode 9 review. The episode is called Harvey Dent, and of course, by the episode's title, we are introduced to the character Harvey Dent. He's not a DA as we know him from The Dark Knight, if that would be your first interaction with the character. He is just a regular lawyer. He doesn't become a DA until much later on in this universe, so we won't be seeing that most likely. We might, not 100% sure. So this will not be a top 5 because there's a lot that goes on in this episode. This will be a top 7. So let's get in number 7. The final scene in the episode, we saw last episode that Barbara ran away from ran away from Jim and from Gordon. And we see at the end of this episode that she's laying in bed and we see that she's with Montoya. So I'm sure that will cause some conflict between Gordon and Montoya in the future once Gordon finds out. But until then, those two are together in their love affair relationship, whatever you want to call it. And so now let's move on. Number 6, the Arkham Asylum is being turned into a correctional facility for the criminally insane. Earlier on the episode, the mayor is talking to the captain of the GCPD with Bullock and Gordon standing there, and Gordon pipes up saying, "You're having these problems with these criminally insane. You don't have a good correctional facility." So Mayor takes that opportunity to make Arkham the correctional facility for the criminally insane, which is really cool. We're already starting to see Arkham turn into the infamous super prison that we see it, in the modern Batman universe. So that's interesting. Right now it's just a correctional facility, but it is really just a prison for the criminally insane. Number 5, Enigma. He's at one point he's working on metal. I forget what it was for. It was for a type of bomb that only worked on iron. And he's listening to this game show, and it's a quiz game show, of course. It's the Riddler, and he's getting all these questions right before they're answered on air, which is really funny to me. And at one point, he gets a question right, but the woman gets a question wrong. And Ed kind of looks at it like, "What, you got it wrong?" And the guy says he got it right, and then he kind of smiles and goes back to his work. It's really neat to see this side of his personality. I mean, we see it in almost every episode. He loves these questions and these games. Very much so Riddler-esque. I don't know if we'll see him come into a villain role in the show. We might, we may not. I don't know. Because we have seen him before where people have just kind of made fun of him and blown him off, and he hasn't looked too happy about it. So we'll see that later on in the episode, possibly later on in the show. Number 5, the plot of the actual episode. A guy named Ian, I forget his last name, is kidnapped. We find out that he's kidnapped by fish moonies, that men that are hired by fish moonies, some Russian men, and they hire him, they force him, not hire him, they're not paying him, they're making him make bombs to break into a vault that has a bunch of money from Falcone. And so we see now Mooney trying to hurt Falcone more by taking money, ends up just blowing up the money. And Butch, her right-hand man, is kind of confused why he just blew it up, and she says the point wasn't to get the money, it was to hurt him. And it worked. They hurt Falcone. So now number 3, Bruce's training. A couple of points where Bruce is kind of training himself. He is fighting with Alfred, kind of boxing. He's really frustrated. Isn't doing too well. Eventually he starts doing a little better. And then at another point in the episode, he is holding his breath underwater to try to test himself. And that kind of nicely leads into number 2 is Selina Kyle, now being at Wayne Manor. In the last episode, we see Selina and the ZCPD asking for Gordon, and Gordon takes her to the Wayne Manor because she has an eyewitness account of the man who killed the Waynes, Thomas and Martha, and she gives him a rough sketch, and so she's a witness, so he doesn't want to be killed by Falcone, so she puts him with the Waynes, or Bruce and Alfred. And we are right when Bruce meets Selina, you see this kind of sparkle in his eye, like he likes this girl. It's just kind of a nice little nod toward Batman and Catwoman's romantic tension, I guess, sexual tension in the comics that we know today. And yeah, so that leads into number 1, the introduction of Harvey Dent. was my favorite thing because I love the character Two-Face. Dissociative Identity Disorder, DID. Um, Basically, it's just the new version of personality disorder. Um, Two sides of a coin is Harvey Two-Face Dent is his nickname, and we definitely see that when we first see him. He's just kind of this cool, collected lawyer who wants to make the world a better place. And at one point, he is interrogating this guy called Lovecraft, who Harvey suspects that he's involved in the murder of the Waynes. And Lovecraft isn't cooperating, and he just snaps and says, "I will, like, basically, I'm gonna kill you." And he kind of backs off and says, "I'm sorry. It was nice to see you." It was just like, hello, there's the Two-Face that we know. So right off the bat, we already see this conflict. Two sides of Harvey. We see the nice guy, and we see this brute force kind of guy. We also see the coin right away. The first time we see him, he's talking to this kid and says, "Heads you go away till you are locked up." And of course, it's a double-headed coin. Flips it, it's heads, and the kid walks away. At one point, at the end of that, Gordon walks out and says, "What if the kids guessed tails?" And he says, "Funny thing with teens, they almost always guess heads." Um, it's kind of funny that he's always making bets, and then Harvey has a meeting with Gordon, Montoya, and her partner, not Barbara, the guy from the other guy, the African American from MCU, forget his name. But he's making bets left and right with the Gordon. "I bet this, I bet that, I bet this," and Gordon says, "You like to bet a lot." It was just kind of nice. We get a very nice nod at who he's gonna be. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of teasing in the show that they can't really fulfill. Like, they've teased Poison Ivy. You can't create Poison Ivy. They've teased Catwoman. You can't create Catwoman. You tease Two-Face. You can't see Two-Face. Um, they're teasing these things, but they're showing these characters and personalities that we know these characters will rise up to become. So I still think it's kind of interesting. IGN has a problem with it. I don't. I like it personally. So that'll be all for this episode. I want to give this episode a solid 4. Definitely things they could have improved on with the actual story of the episode, but a lot of things that are building up. The next episode looks absolutely amazing. I just saw the preview a little while ago. Looks absolutely amazing. So until next time, I've been Epic Gamer. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And until next time, God bless. See ya.